that was crazy.
And then something in the mother line, it was just like, yeah, but Cam, he moved back to West Virginia. Of course, he had like a job like right out of the gate. And his mom and sister and his aunt were all in the business. So he had like a job waiting for him. So he said he might next year if he wants to get a minority scholarship to get like elevated. Yeah. So maybe next week that's supposed to be like Amanda Howland doing that. But it's going to get back to 100 hours. I couldn't tell that about it. I didn't
doing?
Good. How are you?
Okay. I'll let you finish this and then I...
is your call. None of this is your call. No buts. Okay.
Hey, Fiona.
I'm going to turn this on, but I won't turn the volume up until they come out here. That okay? Everything else working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem.
sides of the lower level of the auditorium and at the rear of the balcony level. Look for the red exit signs once you are in the lobby area. In the event of an emergency, please leave the building using the nearest exterior exit in a calm, orderly fashion and follow the directions of the university officials. Thank you.
We still have about 2 minutes before we start, and I'd like to wait those 2 minutes if you don't mind, because we still have people coming. Okay? So I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, welcome to the Fall 2017 New Graduate Student Orientation. I want to thank you all for coming. If you look in your packet and see the agenda, you see that we have a pretty packed agenda. We've condensed into 2 hours some things that used to take a half a day, one time a whole week. So we are just going to give you some information and help you know where to go to look when you're ready to learn more about it. Right now I would like to, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Bert Bach, who's our ETSU Provost, and he would like to give you some welcoming remarks.
Good afternoon. Let me welcome you to this orientation for new graduate students. Dean McIntosh and her staff have worked hard to assure that the time you spend this afternoon will prove to be valuable to you. You have a full agenda, and my role is to welcome you to the university and to the program you've chosen to pursue. We are certainly cognizant of the fact that graduate students have many choices as to institutions at which they will choose to study. We're proud of our programs, of our faculty, and of our students. And we are proud that you've chosen to pursue your graduate studies here, and we're confident that you will come to feel very good about the choice you've made. So we do believe you've made a good choice in deciding to pursue your graduate work here. The graduate school works very hard to see that students succeed. As a matter of fact, the school has 2 graduate success specialists, an online graduate student specialist, and has various other support programs that are available to students as they work through various parts of their graduate programs. Let me have the privilege of giving you one piece of constructive advice. If you ever find yourself needing support or advice or needing to address concerns you may have about just how you're going to complete your program, don't keep the concerns to yourself. Talk with your advisors, with your faculty, and if necessary, talk to one of the graduate success specialists in the graduate school. Graduate and professional programs are the most rapidly expanding type of programming at ETSU's inventory, and we're committed to serving you professionally as well. Whether you are a new student in one of our graduate certificate, master's, or doctoral programs, we believe the topics covered this afternoon will be very useful to you. Those topics include information about the Student Association, information about legal issues, information about research, information about financial aid, and professional development opportunities. Again, thank you for selecting ETSU as the place to pursue your graduate studies. I join many others in believing you've made a good choice and that you will find your graduate studies here rewarding. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Bach. I'm Cecilia McIntosh. I'm Dean of the School of Graduate Studies. It was my name on the bottom of your admission letter, so welcome again. We have a lot of people attending in person. We also have over 100 students that are in online programs that live very far away who are participating through streaming. And so we're going to be talking right into the microphone to make sure that they can hear us too. I want to also reiterate that you're at the start of what I hope is an exciting and rewarding journey. And our point of our orientation is to give you some information and tools for success. I have one announcement that I want to make. This program goes till 6, and then we have refreshments and a reception after. The ID office on the next floor up is staying open just for you until 7 o'clock. So if you haven't already obtained your ETSU ID, you can get that done today after this program is finished. Okay. I would like to introduce some people so you can put names and faces together. That's not my phone, I know that. So first is Fiona Goodyear. Fiona down here. So a lot of persons in education-related graduate programs have interacted with Ms. Goodyear, and she will continue to work with you all the way through to graduation. We have Stacy Hill. You have to stand up, Stacy, I'm sorry. Stacy works with programs in the College of Public Health as well as the Global Sport Leadership Doctoral Program. Angela Edwards is a program specialist for many of the programs in the College of Arts and Sciences. These ones highlighted in red are the new programs. Cindy Hill, who works with programs in the College of Business and Technology, the business programs, as well as the educational leadership programs. Don Rice. Don is the program specialist for all of the nursing programs, the sport physiology, PhD, and the liberal studies in related programs and certificates. Shella Bennett. Shella does audiology and speech and language pathology. That's half of her job. Her other half is doing all kinds of reports that we need for all kinds of reporting agencies. Ricky Carter. Ricky is a program specialist for English, math, related programs, computer information sciences, brand and media strategy, communications, and Appalachian studies. And Michelle Lamb is a program specialist for technology, allied health, nutrition, and the Master of Social Work program. I also want to introduce the two graduate student success specialists that Dr. Bach referred to. I'd like to ask them to stand. I didn't have their pictures in time to put up here, but if you turn around, the person on your right is Brittany Bartholomew, and the person on your left is Christina Smith. And you have information in your packet on contact information. You can go in person, you can email, you can make a phone appointment, and they will be posting their office hours shortly, as soon as they know their final class meeting times. Are you going to talk about that more later? Okay, I'll talk about it a little bit more then. This is something that we started a few years ago because I would have students come to my office with a personal problem, and I'm a biochemist, so I didn't know how to help, and I wanted to help. And so we've entered in a partnership with social work and now counseling programs. These are graduate students just like you. They're doing this as an internship. They have all kinds of community resources they can put you in touch with, or other kinds of referrals that they can make. It is absolutely confidential. The only people who will know that you went to see them is Brittany and Christina. It's absolutely confidential. I can't underscore that enough. And I know that's very important for graduate students, that you have that element of confidentiality, because you don't want everybody in your program knowing your business, okay? Especially if you're having a problem. So you will be getting newsletters from them about once a month with just single pager things with some important information. So please take time to read those over. And on the website there are prior versions of newsletters by topic, so you can click and see that, and just feel free to contact them for all kinds of questions. The other person I want to mention is sitting here staffing the table for the streaming students. That's our online graduate student liaison, Rebecca Lloyd, and she makes sure that distance students, we have students from all over the country and all over the world in some of our programs, and online programs. They don't have to come to campus. She helps them by making sure things get streamed, helps make sure that stuff in the Graduate Professional Student Association are acceptable. Do you have any questions for me before we continue on? Too soon to tell? Okay. Then I would like to invite David Moore, who's also a GPSA co-advisor, since Rebecca's tied to her table, to come up here and talk about the Graduate Professional Student Association and what it can do for you. Do you have a slide?
No.
Okay, then I'll leave this up.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. McIntosh, and thank you all for being here. Bunch of you up in the balcony. I see you up there, and I see the people who are joining us online. I want to welcome everybody. As Dr. McIntosh said, my name is David Moore. I serve a few different roles in the School of Graduate Studies. I'm the primary recruiter, travel the Southeast, going to graduate school fairs in the fall, and so I'll be on my way here soon. I am also an admissions counselor, and I direct the campus tour program for prospective graduate students. So it's entirely possible that there are those of you out there who have met me before. I may or may not remember your name. I probably will remember your face. But anyhow, I am the advisor, co-advisor, if you will want to say that, with Rebecca. I've kind of been more of a hands-on advisor for the Graduate Professional Student Association, and GPSA for short. There is, I don't want to hear bags rattling, but among those things that you have in your packet, there is a membership application form that you can fill out and send into us, bring into us, leave with us after the program here if you'd like. Or you can fill that out online if you go to the School of Graduate Studies website and hit the current students tab, because you now are current students here. One of the links there is for GPSA, and you can find that form there. So we encourage you to do so. There is a $5 membership fee that goes with that, and so you can't take advantage of all of the things that GPSA has to offer until you've filled out that form, submitted it to us, and given us $5 of your hard-earned money, okay? Anyhow, so GPSA is the only student organization that's here at the university that's exclusively for graduate and professional students. There are student organizations all around campus in different departments and different programs. We certainly encourage you to participate in those, but those organizations are blended. They're for graduate students also, but there are a lot of undergraduates in them as well. So GPSA is that opportunity for you to be in an organization, be active hopefully in the organization, that's really just for graduate students and professional students. And it's a good thing to join a group that has representation from all of our colleges and schools here at the school or at the university, rather than just the one that's in your department or the one that's in your program. Because one of the things that we like about ourselves as an organization is the fact that we do have graduate students representing so many disciplines who come together and share their ideas, share their experiences, learn about each other, become friends, and do it just from the perspective of the graduate experience. So there are several benefits. That's one of them that I've just mentioned, you know, the opportunity to get outside of your department. The organization does serve as a social outlet, a community service outlet, because there are a couple of times each semester when you'll have the opportunity through GPSA to participate in community service activities. We have professional development type opportunities as well, seminars, workshops, and things like that we either sponsor or co-sponsor with other organizations. And then one of the big benefits, you as graduate students will have the opportunity, many of you, if not most of you, will have the opportunity during your time here to participate in original research that you're doing through your department, or attending seminars that have to do with your subject if it's not a research type emphasis. But those seminars, conferences, and things like that you will have the opportunity to travel to while you're here as graduate students cost money. You know, there's always a cost involved with things, especially those where you have extensive travel. And GPSA is proud to have a budget. It comes from the student fees that are collected, and so, you know, it's not your $5 membership fee. If we only did it $5 at a time, it wouldn't go very far. But if you are an active member of GPSA and you have one of those conferences where you're presenting research, or you're being involved in the conference or the seminar, whatever it might be, and you need travel assistance, A lot of times there's money in the department, but there's not always nearly enough. And we have a budget of $15,000 a year that can go toward that. It's, we're limited to no more than $500 for one individual, and there are certain things that you have to do to show the need, and you won't necessarily get the full amount, but we do have funding available to assist you. Now, again, that money is for people who are active members, and so there's the definition of what is an active member. It gets into the case of attending meetings, participating in activities, things such as that. You don't have to do everything, but you do need to do some things. I can get long-winded. Dr. McIntosh probably is over there nodding her head. But I'm going to take this opportunity to shut up, number one. And number two, I want to introduce Michael Luckton, who is standing right here, and he is the new vice president of the organization. He was just elected to that role back in May when we had our elections. And so unless anybody has a question and wants to pop their hand up right now, I will let Michael come up and take over. Oh, and I will real quickly point out that, yes, there are opportunities for our distance learners to participate in the organization and to take advantage of that funding. If you have questions about that, you can pose those to Rebecca, and we can address them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Dr. McIntosh. My name is Michael Luckton. I'm the Vice President of the GPSA. I know I don't have a lot of time here, so I want to go ahead and get started. Our President did request that I pass out a little email list, so I'm going to do that right now. And if you could put your email on here, it'd be a great way for us to get in contact with you, okay? So like David said, we're the only body on campus that represents graduate students. It's similar to like a student government for the undergraduates, but graduate students have distinct needs and concerns. I know I'm 40 years old and I have a lot different idea of what I need from my institution than someone who's just 18 or 20. And I know a lot of you guys have similar concerns. So we represent you at different administrative levels and at different committees and councils, whether you're a member of the GPSA or not. You're still a part of the graduate student body, and we still represent you. Now, if you want travel funding, you have to be a member of the organization. So a good plan of action for a graduate student would be your first year, your first semester, you have to write some papers, and then you could present one of those papers at a conference in the spring. So you have to be a member of the GPSA for a semester before you get any funding. So for me, if it was me and I were doing it all over again, I would pay the $5 that I needed to be a member. Then I would go through the fall semester, go to a meeting, write a paper in my classes, and the one that most resonated with me, I would sort of massage into a conference paper that I could submit to whatever my field of study would be. And then I would apply to the GPSA for anywhere between $100 and $500 to pay for me to get there or to pay for my hotel. We're just overflowing with cash. And last year, we weren't able to give away all of the money, actually, that we had budgeted to us. So please sign up and join. And you should be able to voice your concerns to someone in the GPSA, and you should have a representative in your college. So there's one other thing that I would like to do before I leave. I know people have probably told you to turn your phones off, but I would love for you to take your phone out right now and join the Facebook group that we had set up so we could have a good way to communicate. Can I join Facebook on here, pull it up a browser? Well, the only problem is there's an old GPSA Facebook group that might be confusing, but we just started one. So if you could get out your phone and open up old Facebook, and then type in the search bar for ETSU GPSA. I'm going to do that right now. Yeah, I hope you can find it. And I think that's going to be all, as much guidance as I'm going to give you, because y'all are all graduate students and you can figure it out yourself. There's like 2 groups on there, but please join the group, and that'll be a way that we can communicate with you pretty efficiently. And I hope to see you at a... Yes, ma'am.
I just tried to pull it up, and do I need to add you as a friend, or is it like a group? Because it's acting like a person.
Okay, so that would be the wrong one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if it's a person, then that is the wrong thing, and if it's a group, then that's the right thing. And if it's a group that looked like it was just started in the past week, then we did start that just so we could make sure we got in touch with you and were able to efficiently communicate with you. I didn't even do anything, I just touched it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. What we can do is we can send an email to you with the link to it to make it easier for you if you give us the proper link.
Okay.
We'll send that out.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't know how we got off. Do you need to do something up here? I don't see the thing to hit, like to display and stuff. Thank you for coming down. We lost our display. That's where we want to start. He swears that he didn't touch it. He swears he didn't touch it. Yay. All right, thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Ed Kelly, who's ETSU counsel from the Office of University Counsel, who wants to talk to you about legal issues you need to consider. And Ed, we need to talk into the microphone so the distance streaming students can hear. I know you like to walk, but the lapel mic didn't work, so we're going to tie you to the podium today.
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good. It gets a little hot and stuffy sometimes when we're doing these things all day. I bet you never thought you would come here and one of the first people you'd hear from is a university lawyer. But we live in a legal world, and in a legal world, we have a number of things we can deal with. My expertise has always been employment law, where you'd have this employer-employee relationship. And higher ed is most interesting because our employer-employee relationships are of all different kinds. We have medical residents who are students, but they're employees. We have graduate assistants who teach, who work, but they're students. And we have people who have different relationships with their supervisors, different relationships with people they supervise, and dealing with that role. For many of you, the role jumping from undergraduate to graduate is a big role, and it has legal consequences. So the legal concerns I want to talk about today are the concepts of role, concepts of responsibility, and some guidelines for legal problems you might face as a graduate assistant here. Because you represent the university. If you are teaching an entry-level course in the discipline to the 17-year-old or 18-year-old from Carter County, you are probably as powerful as President Noland, because he isn't going to grade you. You know, you have responsibilities to people, and when you do, you often represent the university. You're the face of the university, much more so than somebody in the administration building. We're going to talk about harassment or things in the workplace that you might come across or you might even be accused of. And there's two things to remember. People say, well, we're going to talk about sexual harassment or racial harassment or discrimination based on disability or status. And you talk about sexual harassment. When I used to teach sexual harassment, it reminded me of those teachers in undergraduate who would have these really boring classes, but they would put a label on it with the word sex in it. And they would always fill up. And then people say, oh, it's really boring. Sex and physical education, sex and history, that type of thing. Oh, it's only a history course, but we got your attention with it. Sometimes with sexual harassment, one of the things we have to talk about is it's not about sex. It's about power. And in fact, if you learn nothing today from me, in 3 years from now, someone says, what did you learn? I only want you to remember two things. I want you to write them. You're doing something with your phones now. Now write this on your hands. And don't wash, and close your hands and don't wash them for like 3 years. And then when someone says, what'd you learn? Pull it up. And that's about, harassment isn't about sex. It's about these two things. Power, P-O-W-E-R, and boundaries. Setting appropriate boundaries. And that's it in a nutshell. Racial harassment, disability harassment, veteran harassment, and sexual harassment fall within that category. What we have is people abusing power or people abusing boundaries. And what's the role as a graduate assistant? Well, I might be a teaching associate, and if I'm a teaching associate, I see the students pretty much a heck of a lot more than the lawyer sees the students. Well, some students I probably see more than the teachers see them. But the fact is, you are the face of the university. You're the powerful person. As an administrative assistant, you're the person who relates to the undergraduate student and your fellow graduate students in your job. And that's it. I had a workshop I did up at Niagara University up in New York many years ago, and we talked about this, how things change. And a fellow raised his hand. He says, well, you know, he says, I can really tell you about this. He says, I was the captain of the hockey team 2 years ago, and now I'm the head coach of the hockey team. And I would have people I actually played with who were freshmen saying, oh, let's do this, let's do that, and things that we would have done in a minute if I was an undergraduate, but suddenly I was the coach. And I had to draw lines and say, this is the boundary, this is where I am, and this is where I go. And we see this really in all of our work. I tell students, what if you were a graduate assistant and you study, I think, what do they do, 40, 50 hours a week of study around here, and you never really get out until like that one little bit of time on the weekend, and you go out to wherever it is that students go to have a good time. And you see someone you're attracted to, you say you want to go out on a date, you want to have a cup of coffee, you want to dance, or whatever they say these days, and the person is not interested. The person's not interested, they say no thank you, right? And nothing's lost. At law we call that an arm's length transaction. Let's take it a little different. I'm a graduate assistant and the person's in my class, I see them exactly the same place. I'm just as unattractive as I was before. And I say, would you like to have a cup of coffee, go for a date, whatever, and the person still doesn't like me. Is that a little harder for that individual to deal with this. Well, yeah, actually, I'm in the same classes as this fella. I work with this fella. I've got a face. I wish he wouldn't have said that. Not illegal, but you can see where it's a problem. Well, let's take the third situation. I'm your supervisor in your job in the library, and I call you into my office and I say, you're doing a great job here. We're thinking of who we're going to hire through the summer. We'll raise the salary over the summer for whoever we hire. You'd be a top candidate. By the way, you got beautiful eyes. Would you like to go out and have a cup of coffee or go to a movie or dance with me? And I'm still unattractive. Hard to stretch. I'm still unattractive. And you can see, can't you, that that's a different situation. Well, that's the kind of thing that you have as you leave the undergraduate world and go into the graduate world, that you suddenly have responsibilities and power that you have to maintain. And that's that word that you put on your hands, power, and you've got to maintain appropriate boundaries. Good fences build good neighbors, a professional demeanor. What do I do if I get into a situation where someone is stalking me or someone is pressuring me? How do I deal with it? Well, one thing we like to tell people who bring complaints is document. Document what occurs. What occurred on this date? What did that person say? How did they say it? The second thing I do is I tell my supervisor, I've got this person who's been bothering me. And this is what goes on. And so we've got it documented all the way through, and we need this. And also to bring in your supervisor, whether that be the department chair, whether that be the head librarian, whether it be whoever you're working with, bring that supervisor into the situation to see if it can get resolved. And we have a formal way of resolving that as well. We have a disciplinary process under Title IX of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that protects you. You have a right to talk to our Office of Diversity and to file a complaint, and we will follow through with that complaint and take appropriate action. So if I've got people doing inappropriate things, and we bring that to the attention of the university will investigate, will make a determination, and will take appropriate action. Now, graduate students, I talked about the nice part, that you were in power positions. You like being in power positions. You're the graduate student, you're also in probably the least powerful position that you'll notice it, because suddenly you're dependent on everybody. You're dependent on the faculty. You're dependent on the people you work for. You're dependent on sometimes even with students that you might teach, with staff, with administration. Sometimes you feel, I'm not that powerful. So you could be a victim of some kind of harassment or power play or a violation of boundaries. And what you should realize is we want to address that. We want to address it quickly and firmly, and you're not alone. It's not something that you have to address by yourself. We've got an Office of Diversity. We've got a counseling center. We've got people who can help you. Maintain appropriate boundaries, document, notes, keep a journal, keep a diary, and then we can report it. And a student may come to you, an undergraduate student may come to you and say, I'm being harassed. I've got a problem, and I'll do that. Because they don't. People who feel like they're being harassed think it's the whole university that's bothering them. I'm being harassed by a powerful person, a person who's a faculty member who I report to. And I don't know what to do as a victim. And where do I go? Do I go over to the administration building? Go up to the lawyer's office and talk to the old fat guy? No. Do I go to the president's office and talk to the president? No. What I generally do is I find somebody I trust. I find somebody who remembers my birthday. I find that graduate assistant who was nice to me when I first came in, and I talk to them. That's how the complaints get to us so that we can take appropriate action. That's it. So you should be honored when they come to you and say this is a situation. But I've been doing this for 40 years, and what you find is you're not honored so much when they come as you feel a sudden physical response. It usually involves shortness of breath and shooting pain up your left arm. As you say, oh, what am I going to deal with sexual harassment? How am I going to deal with this? Well, the best thing you can do when you're in a low level, in a low power position, and you get into a situation where you feel the sweatiness and the shaking and the shooting pain up your left arm is make sure some administrators feel it too. And the way you do that is you go to the dean of the graduate school, or you go to me, or you go to Diversity, Affirmative Action, Title IX, Compliance, and you report it. And we're there to help. So, so it's a situation where we have to really work together in these kinds of things as they go along. Some other quick items that we should look at when we talk about the work that we do here is confidentiality. Confidentiality is very important, and it is because people respect their privacy. People coming into the university have private lives that they want to keep quiet. We respect confidentiality and privacy. For people who look at hacking or look at scams or that type of thing, might want to protect their address, might want to protect their records. And we're also obligated to protect student records through the Federal Family Education Right to Privacy Act, FERPA. And that requires that we do not give information to other people if I have a student record. I might be in the registrar's office or another office where I might have access to student files. And I say, oh, how did so-and-so do on their test? Oh, he's always bragging. Let's see what his grades were. No, we can't do that. We can't take advantage of information that we get. And frankly, most of you will be getting access to a lot of information that's the student record. And you should always, always, always take under consideration that we have obligation under federal law to protect the confidentiality of student records. So we can't help. One of the problems that we have, too, is many students are coming to the university with parents who are very active in their kindergarten through 12th grade education, and there are laws that protect the rights of parents to intercede and play a major role in the educational progress of students. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act is the particular law that gives the parents a right to access through 12th grade. Well, now they come to the university, and for many parents, it's very painful for them to leave the student on their own and let the student make their decisions and keep their records to themselves. And we have to honor that right that the student has, even as to their own parents, unless they give permission. Unless a student wants to give permission to give a record. So we want to maintain and control those records at all times. We have, anyone ever hear the term helicopter parents? Okay, we hear it all the time. As the students come in, there are some parents who kind of hover around their child and go to the students' classes and do all kinds of things like this. That they're that interested, they're going to have something to do with that student's life, classes, homework, whatever. And that can be very difficult for you. And if you run across that, make sure you talk to some faculty member in your department. Make sure you talk with the dean and maintain the confidentiality of the student records, even as it may relate to the student's own family. Okay, so FERPA is very important. Disability services. We have many students and staff and faculty with disabilities. Some disabilities we can see. People with disabilities where they might use a wheelchair. People with disabilities that involve their vision, or disabilities that involve their hearing, we might see it. And also disabilities that we may not see. And the key for that is, and if anyone here has a disability, I strongly encourage you to register with our Office of Disability Services, because that office will work with you to get reasonable accommodations that you might need to be successful in the university. And it's much nicer and much easier to do that at the beginning of the semester rather than to wait until the very end when there's some academic trouble or something that should have been done before. So the Office of Disability Services is there. You may run across students who come to you with a disability. And it's not my job as a lawyer, not your job as a graduate assistant to determine whether they have a disability or don't have a disability. It's our obligation to move them to the Office of Disability Services where they can address the needs, and the Office of Disability Service says, okay, this is a reasonable accommodation. You need more time for this examination. And so somebody may come to you if you're teaching a class and say, I have a letter from the Office of Disability Services. I'm entitled to more time for the examination. That's not the time for us to argue that, because the university has spoken. The university has reviewed, made its decision, and this is a reasonable accommodation. And we don't have to re-argue that at any particular point in time. It's the accommodation determination is made by the Office of Disability Services, usually in consultation with the academic program. And we're seeing more and more of this all the way through. The IDEA, the one that I talked about a little bit before, is a law that opened the doors for an entire community of people with disabilities. It's from kindergarten through 12th grade. Gave them all kinds of rights. They were very successful. And being successful, they don't stop at 12th grade. They come to the university like anyone else and want to finish their education in a facility that is accommodating to whatever disability they might have. Another item is the syllabus. If you're teaching the syllabus, some people call it a contract. Actually, most courts call it a quasi-contract. It's kind of like an agreement of this is what it is you have. But you should consider that as the basis of your course that you're going to be giving. That if I bring a grade appeal against a grade that you've given, the first thing that a committee is going to look at is, where's the syllabus? The syllabus says, this is how you grade. Did you grade that way? Did you follow it? You made the rules in your syllabus. Did you follow your own rules? And that will be one of the concerns that we might have in grade appeals and other things. Transparency in the syllabus. Let people know how you're going to make changes, what changes you're going to make, your grading practices, office hours, and keeping the office hours that you put down. And also, leave yourself a little room for some changes as the course progresses. You may also want to include statements about the availability of disability services for those who may need them. But the syllabus is a very important document, both for you as a student and if you're teaching as a graduate assistant. Very important. And you have me now. I'm not billing, so if you have any questions about your education, I'd be happy to answer them. Okay. No?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we hear from the library, we get to stop for a fun part, and that's our first of 3 door prize drawings. When you checked in, you were asked to put your name on a piece of paper. If you wrote legibly and I draw your name out, you might win something. And David?
See, we really did have you do this for a reason.
And we will do a parallel thing, randomized thing for the online students as well. So David is going to show you what your choices are. If your name is called, if you want to yell out what you want, we will deliver it to you in your seat so you don't have to climb over everybody or jump over the balcony or whatever. So we have a School of Graduate Studies umbrellas, which fold up quite tiny. Okay, so they fit well in a backpack or a satchel or whatever. We have coffee mugs with the School of Graduate Studies logo. You all got a t-shirt when you came, so you already got one gift. And then we also have some nice beach towels. All right, so I'm going to draw, I'll draw 2 names real quick, and we'll see if I can read it. And if I don't read it, if I can't read it, it goes back in. Okay, I can read it. I'm not sure I can say it. I will do my best. Zokinyoin Barui. Did I get even close? Did I? Yay. What would you like? What would you like? The towel? All right. And I hope I got close to saying your name correctly. I didn't get to rehearse. And then we have Michaela Nava. Oh, the towels are popular. If you're cold, you can wear them now. Okay, next it's my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Wendy Doucette, who is a Graduate Student Services librarian at the Shared Library, and she will tell you all kind of good stuff you can avail yourself of as graduate students.
Hello everyone and welcome. Let me look at you for a second. Our new crop of graduate students, all hopeful, a little bit frazzled in the afternoon, but still going strong. Okay, so first of all, congratulations on getting in. You're in graduate school now. And now we're gonna work on getting you out, because that is, I'm gonna be honest with you, the much more difficult part. Our job at the library, I'm the Graduate Research and Instruction Librarian. Our job is to help you do all the meta stuff that your professors who are subject specialists do not have the time to show you. So anything that starts with, how do I, that's a library thing. How do I look for this? How do I do that? How do I process this? We're gonna help you get through that. I handle all students and all programs on the ground, and we support all programs at all levels. Joanna Anderson, I don't know if any of you have met or heard of Joanna yet. She is the distance librarian. She's helping all students online. How many people online? Okay. Plus all our people at home. Hello, people at home. Okay, and I saw there were technical difficulties, but hopefully they won't happen to me. Okay, in your packet, you don't need to look for it, you've already got it, a little sheet from us that says stuff that the library does on the front. Things I want to highlight from this for you. Support. Okay, our job is to help you get out of school. That's what we do. So if you walk in to my office and you say, I don't know how to do anything, that's okay. I'm gonna help you find some stuff. If your idea of searching is the Google machine and that's it, we're gonna get you on the right track so that you can begin to do all the stuff that you need to know. Materials, no problem, interlibrary loan. If there's anything that we don't have, we'll get it for you. It takes usually about 3 days. I can't promise you that if you've got a paper due, but generally it's a pretty quick turnaround. We have spaces just for grad students. If you can't bear to look at the undergrads one more minute, they're not that bad, but sometimes you're just not in the mood. We have rooms, grad only, on the 3rd floor. You get in them with card swipe. We did have study rooms that were graduate student only, real room with a lock on the door. This time we have them closed for construction, but if we got a surge of demand, I think there might be a possibility that they might get opened. Okay, one of the main things we do for you, we are the librarians for thesis and dissertation boot camp. You may get there someday. You haven't even gone to the first class yet, so I'm not going to think about that yet. But we also offer workshops. We give them twice in the fall, once in the spring. We've got a dozen of them now, and we break them out 6 and 6. People come on 2 Saturdays, and generally it's from 9 to 3. They're going to be offered. First Saturday is September 23rd and October 2nd. Then we do them again back-to-back in November before Thanksgiving, October 4th and October 11th. Sorry, November 4th and 11th. There will be a notice about this from the graduate school, and I know that all of you are checking your mail every day, right? Yeah, please tell me you're checking your mail. Okay, and I also know that students throw out a ton of mail because you're gonna get a deluge, but for sure, I know that you're gonna read your mails from the grad school. As far as you're concerned in this program, The grad school, they are your supreme rulers. That's what you're going to have to do. Anything they say goes. Seriously, I'm not kidding about that. You will get listings about these, and we're going to do them exactly in this order. How academic research works is just that. You're in an apprenticeship program. Would be nice to know what it's about, right? So we're going to tell you. What is lit review is the #1 thing that's covered in there. Searching and citation management, we really don't want you just on Google, and you don't want to be flailing around just typing anything into the catalog hoping you get something. Time and project management, how you can set stuff up, how you can have feeds, how you can find your files again so you're not continually looking for stuff with your 900 memory sticks. Understanding data and formatting APA papers. The publications and presentations, you will have to go out at some point and present on your data. So you're going to want to do that in a really polished way that will help you to get a job, because that's, I know you're all excited to be in grad school, but I assume that the end result of this is to get out and get a job someday. So let's push in that direction right from the get-go. Measuring research impact is a new one this year. I haven't even seen that one yet. It's metrics and altmetrics. Infographics, because it's nice to be able to do stuff in other media, put it out on social media. That's another good way to get a job, is being the person who knows how visual stuff works. Professional identity, social media again, and medical searching. So we hope to see you at these workshops. We hope to see you in the library, and avail yourselves of us in any way. You can reach us by chat, text, you can walk in, you can call, you can do a bunch of stuff. Workshops are always free. And we even feed you. It's a super good deal. Costs you nothing, and you get to come and eat pizza. Plus, you get to see us, the librarians. We are the best part of the whole library because, like I said, we work for you. Okay, any questions about anything? All right, cool. I'll see you all soon. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Wendy. And next we have, there's contact information. Our next speaker is Dr. Bill Duncan, who is our Vice Provost for Research and Sponsored Programs. All of you will have some sort of culminating experience in your program, whether it's a thesis or a dissertation or a capstone project or a comprehensive exam. And you'll be doing research sometimes for in your classes. Dr. Duncan is going to let you know some things that you need to know ahead of time to make sure that all goes smoothly for you also.
Thank you, and welcome, and I hope all of you had a chance to get out today and safely view the exciting eclipse that we had today. It wasn't 100%, but 96.9 is very close. So welcome, and I think it's kind of interesting. I think back to my first days as a graduate student, and it's a daunting challenge, but it's probably one of the greatest times of your academic career and in your whole career as you begin, because you're going to be thinking about conducting research, which is generating new knowledge, and that's one of the most exciting things to do. You're going to be generating new knowledge. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things you need to think about before you start that career. Unfortunately, there are many guidelines and regulations that you have to be aware of that oversee how you conduct your research and carry out your career. And we're going to try to give you some insights into some of those today. What we're going to need to talk about today is responsible conduct of research. We're going to talk about research policies. Unfortunately, if we take federal dollars, they require us to have policies to put into place to ensure that the research is conducted by the university is appropriate and sound. We're going to talk about research compliance. Many of you probably will be doing human subjects research. Some may be doing animal care research, and we'll talk about the policies there. We talk about biosafety and chemical safety and radiation safety. We have a lot of guidelines on campus regarding safety. We do a lot of training. That training is really to protect you, to protect your fellow students, and to protect the community, and we take that very seriously. And finally, we'll talk about the Appalachia Student Research Forum, which is our opportunity to present your research findings on campus. It's an exciting meeting. So what is actual responsible conduct of research? The university expects everyone working on campus, whether they be individual research, lab managers, technicians, students, to employ the highest standards of research excellence to exhibit exemplary moral behavior as researchers. And we take this very seriously, and as you begin your career, you need to have this at the forefront of your march through your research career. Well, what does it really mean to have outstanding moral character in carrying out your research? That means a lot of it's just common sense. Take due care in conducting your research. Avoid any bias. Report the results as they come, not how you think they should come, or how you think the funder of the research, or how your supervisor thinks they should be. That means honestly report those findings. Report the findings exactly as they come. Be cautious in speculating about their significance. Don't over-speculate. And what's important is take and give appropriate credit for work that is done. Treat animals and human subjects with due respect. Avoid any conflicts of interest that may impact the conduct or planning of your study. And respect intellectual property. Well, what does that mean? That means that you cite appropriately and get approval for using any patented or copyrighted material that you may use in your thesis and dissertation and production of your final research product. And as Mr. Kelly mentioned, protect confidentiality of information you collect. This is very important, especially if you're doing human subjects research. There are various regulations and important policies that govern these, also unfortunately very strict penalties if you violate those. So you need to be aware of those. Protect the confidentiality of any research subjects you're involved in and the confidentiality of any data that may be collected. And we have ETSU has appropriate guidelines and for responsible conduct of research. It's on the website, on the research website. There are 3 research websites that you need to be aware of. One is for the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs, we refer to as ORSPA. Many of our policies and forms are there. There's a Vice Provost for Research website where you'll find many of the policies and procedures that govern responsible conduct of research. And we'll talk about it in a minute, the Human Subjects or IRB website, which is very important for those of you doing human subjects research. I failed to update this slide, but in the spring semester of 2018, I teach a course for graduate students and undergraduates that really goes over the principles of, it guides the conduct of research. We talk about some of the unfortunate things that happened after World War II, which really impacted the way we think about research and protecting human subjects. It talks about the international guidelines as well as the US guidelines that are appropriate for conducting research and professional codes of ethics for any particular career you may enter. Unfortunately, we deal with a lot of government regulations and guidelines over responsible conduct of research. Other policies you need to be aware of are conflict of interest policies that exist at the university governing when you take money for funding research. You need to be ensured that there's no conflict between you as a researcher and the funding elements. This generally applies to your mentor, but you need to be aware of those. Intellectual property policies, if you discover something that's patentable or copyrightable, you need to be aware of your rights as a researcher and the rights of the university for ownership rights of those. And we have policies in place to help those. We also have export control policies. Much of our research doesn't fall under this, but you need to be aware of this if you're going to be traveling internationally, or you may be working with some very highly confidential information or technology primarily. So I think many of you probably will do, at one point in time, will be involved in human subjects research, whether you understand what that is really human subject research or not at this point in your career. So the policy of the institution is all individuals engaged in human subject research that is sponsored by ETSU or under the direction of any faculty member, staff, or student, that is you conducting the research, you must obtain the approval of the Institutional Review Board before beginning the research activities. And I highlight again, before beginning. It's inappropriate if you come to me or to our Institutional Review Board and said, well, I did this first series of studies, I would like you to have retroactive approval for that. We cannot do that. And that's a violation of our policies and could have us report it to our federal oversight groups. Yeah, we're not allowed as individuals to determine whether it's human subject research. That's delegated by our policy to the chair of the Institutional Review Board to determine that. So if you begin studies or go into planned studies that may be human subject research, We have a way you can understand that by contacting Office of Human Resource Protection, and they will give you the appropriate guidance and oversight to tell you what you need to do. Here's some ideas of what human subject research includes, such as interviews, surveys, and questionnaires, or focus groups, any interaction with individuals. And again, this is living individuals. Any manipulation of an individual's environment, accessing an individual's private identifiable information. This is an important component. Many times in conducting your research, you might have access to someone's social security number, other identifiable information. That comes into the realm of human subject research. It also means you have an important component of protecting that information, and it's not released unwarrantedly. And one way to determine whether it's human subject research, you submit what we call Form 129. It's on the website. That's submitted to the chair of the IRB. They make a determination, determine whether this is human subject research. If it is, you then have to proceed with obtaining approval and review and approval of the study. This is a snapshot of the website for the Institutional Review Board. Everything you need to know or understand about human research is here. All our policies. We have an electronic form called IRB Manager that you would need to register and train on in submitting your documentation to the IRB. So become familiar with this website and work with your mentor. Unlike many institutions, we'll allow you to be actually the actual principal investigator on a study that you want to plan and do. So you have sole responsibility to ensure that you conduct a study appropriately with the oversight of your mentor and being reviewed and approved by the Institutional Review Board. And let me see if I can get this to come up. What we've done over the last year is developed a checklist for students, and this is the checklist here. This kind of covers everything I'm really talking about today, so you can go to the website, download this, and be familiar with this. It tells you exactly what you need to do in terms of getting a research determination. Is it research? Also tells you about directing and generating a consent form and a variety of information. This is essential. This is a hands-on how to do list. One thing I need to inform you too is that the regulations and rules we work under are federal regulations called the Common Rule, which 18 federal agencies have agreed upon. They were instituted in 1991. They've undergone revision over the last 4 years. The revisions have been developed. The current administration has put them on hold. Unless something happens, they probably will come into play sometime in January. So many of the regulations and policies we're talking about today that are still in force, some of them may change to your advantage, and some will have increase of oversight. So pay attention. We may have some different rules that you'll have to be aware of over the next 3 to 5 months. We hope that is delayed a little bit, so we have to go back and revise all of our policies and procedures, which is a fair amount of work. Most of this is to help you understand how best to conduct your research. So, as I mentioned, you need to submit a request for approval to the IRB well before you plan to conduct your study and when you graduate. It's important to realize if you're going to graduate, if it's January and you're going to graduate, September, let's go back, and you want to graduate in May, you really need to have your study plan, obtain approval well above, so you have to conduct your study over that year to year and a half, and be able to write your dissertation and your thesis. So again, do not wait until the final semester. Don't wait until January. Do not wait until your final semester. And the reason is red. I can tell you stories, unfortunately horror stories, of people coming into the office April 15th and saying, I'm graduating in 2 weeks, I need to defend. I need you to sign my approval today so I can write my dissertation over the weekend and I can graduate. It just doesn't happen that way. We work very hard to speed things along, but again, sometimes some of the studies you're planning are wonderful, they're complex, and so we need some time to review it and help you get an understanding how best to conduct it. So please remember, if you have a complex study, come and sit down with the Institutional Review Board members. They're willing, and our staff want to help you to do your research efficiently and safely and ethically. We have 2 IRBs at the institution. One is the campus IRB, which most of you will barely be involved with, which is primarily our social science IRB and behavioral research. And again, much of the oversight of behavioral research may change with the revisions of the Common Rule. We have a medical IRB, which serves ETSU, College of Medicine, and the other 4 colleges conducting, carrying out research in the health sciences. We also serve as the IRB of record for the VA hospital system here, and the IRB for Mountain States Health Alliance. So we cover almost all the clinical research that's done within the region, except for those currently at Wellmont Health System. That may change if the merger of the hospital happens, and we may also cover those research studies in addition. If you're going to carry out research, it's required policy, both federal and local policy, that you be trained. We have training, online training. All our training is online through the city system, and it's pretty efficient, and you have to have the training done before your IRB study can be approved. If you're conducting animal care work with animals and research on animals, there's as much, if even more, oversight of research in that situation, because animals cannot give informed consent where humans can. So we're very careful approving and overseeing animal studies. There are obviously multiple institutions at the federal level which oversee our activities. Those include the USDA, the Department of Health and Human Services. We also have oversight by the Office of Research Oversight at the Veterans Administration, as well sometimes if we conduct studies for the Department of Defense. Training is required again, and our training is carried out by modules on the city system. That's available to all of you to have insight to. If you're going to be working with biologic agents such as recombinant DNA or toxic or hazardous chemicals or human tissue that may be infectious, we have a committee, the Biosafety and Chemical Safety Committee, that oversees that ensures the study you're planning is within the guidelines that we want to work with. But most importantly, if not as importantly, is we ensure that you're properly trained and you're working with the best protocols and safety equipment that would protect you, protect your laboratory partners, and protect the community. And so that again requires training. Our training is online. Our training has been developed by the Office of Environmental Safety and Health on campus. If you're going to be radiobiologic chemicals, there's a separate committee that oversees that, and you would also undergo training and have appropriate review of the protocol that you're carrying out to ensure that you're safe and the environment is protected from any release of chemicals. And finally, after you've done all your research and you're excited, you've got a paper you want to publish, you're going to give a poster or an oral presentation, we sponsor the Appalachian Student Research Forum, which is the annual showcase for post-baccalaureate medical, postdoctoral student research projects. We have over 250 students that present either posters or oral presentations for a day and a half, and usually early April. We have faculty who judge these, and the important thing is we give cash prizes, and it's really a fun event. And we have an outside speaker come in, give a wonderful talk on what it means to be a researcher, and it gives you an opportunity to interact with your fellow students and see the research they're conducting become part of the research environment and the graduate student research environment on campus, and meet the people that are involved. So look forward to that. We really enjoy, it's growing and continues to grow, and it's probably one of our most exciting opportunities for research sharing on campus. So this is the Office of Sponsored Research Programs, and again, if you have questions about research, questions about safety, questions about how you link up with others on campus, if you have an idea, contact us. We're here to help you, and especially work closely with you if you're doing human subjects research. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have one more presentation before we give away more prizes. And that is Dr. Karen Botoshik, who is the Associate Dean at the School of Graduate Studies. And she's going to tell you about some nice extras that the School of Graduate Studies offers that you might want to take advantage of. And I won't steal any of your thunder, so there you go.
Thank you. Hello and welcome to ETSU. I think I actually have the best presentation here because I am going to talk about how you can get some money and how you also can take advantage of professional development opportunities that we are offering. So the first thing I want you to take away from this email, it is actually what Dr. Doucette already started to mention. One of the most important things you need to do around here is read your email. I cannot tell you how often we see students who said, oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, there was money available, but now it's 3 weeks after the deadline. Yeah, it's not available anymore 3 weeks after the deadline. So please make sure, and I know there's a lot of email that is coming in, but make sure at least skim through it that you do not miss some of these opportunities that are available to you. So we provide financial support through graduate assistantships, tuition scholarships, and Quillen scholarships. How many of you in here have a graduate assistantship or a tuition scholarship? Can you, oh wow. Oh, that is incredible. Congratulations. So for graduate assistantships, you have to work 20 hours a week. You need to stay in good academic standing, and it is limited to certain terms, depending if you are in a master's or if you are in a doctoral program. Tuition scholarships, it's 8 hours of work. It is only for new students, good standing again, and limited terms. The Quillen scholarships are for students from the 1st Congressional District. They have to have a very strong academic record and is based on financial needs. We also provide support, and this is kind of, many of you are going to think, oh my gosh, I'm just started. Now you are talking about research, IRB, thesis, dissertation, but believe me, you're going to blink and you are there, and it is so important that you plan kind of from the beginning. Because one of the things that is usually happen, it takes longer than you think it will. When you do research, there are many things that sometimes do not go as you plan them. So in these instances, we provide thesis dissertation scholarships. And what that often does, and this actually happened in my own research, when I tried to finish, my IRB took much longer than I thought it would. And so I had to add one more semester to finish it up. And we have a scholarship here. My university that I was at, unfortunately, did not have something like that. But we help you during that last semester to support, and we pay the tuition for you. So keep that in mind. Also, I think for many people, when they get into writing their dissertation and their thesis, there comes a slump sometimes where you just say, oh, I'd rather clean my house, or you do things that you really don't like to do, you know, walk the dogs. My dogs were never as exercised during the time I wrote my dissertation. I think they didn't want to go for walks anymore. But the dissertation boot camp is really something that helps you. You are in a supportive environment with people who are in the same situation, so take advantage of that if you feel like you need the extra support. We also offer GRE workshops. Some of you might say, oh, I want to go on to get a professional degree, I want to go on to get a doctoral degree, and you need to increase your score. So think about that. Also, these announcements come out with emails. We offer professional development classes that might help you with career planning, a career planning class. For those of you who are teaching or plan to teach in the future, we have a teaching pedagogy class that is actually offered every fall and spring. The art of self-marketing. This is really one of the courses I think that become more and more important. How do you present yourself on social media? How to get the information out that is necessary today on all these social networks. leaderships for professional and responsible conduct for research. So again, look out for these emails if you're interested in that, if you think they can support your education. Now, all of you are going to do a culminating experience. Some of you write a thesis, small book. Some of you a dissertation, big book. Capstone can go either way. Others will have to student teach, have clinical rotations, internships. I mean, there are so many things that all of you have to prepare, and this is where planning really comes into place. So again, get started. Get a plan ready, move ahead, finish. You know, we want you to succeed. We want you to see walking off that stage. There are always times when people start to kind of postpone doing things, but stay motivated, talk to each other, use the support of fellow students, your professors, us if you have to. Take advantage of the boot camps and the scholarships if needed. There also are going to be ETD workshops every semester, fall, spring, and summer, that kind of will help you walk you through the thesis and dissertation process, how it's going to work. I would recommend to start really early on so you can kind of get an idea what is expected. You know, and we have a lot of students who take these workshops more than once, because it's a good refresher when you come back and kind of you hear it more than once. We also have award categories for different aspects in terms of dissertation, theses in all the different disciplinaries and outstanding capstone projects. And the reason why I'm mentioning this, you know, this is another thing that we provide support and recognition. And I know it's early, but I want you to kind of have this in your mind. Hopefully, your name is going to be up here in a couple of years, that some of you are receiving these awards. So I don't want to read this out for you, but just you get an overview. Last spring award ceremony, the outstanding dissertation went to a doctoral student in nursing. Art humanities went to professional communication. Outstanding thesis in the social sciences went to sociology. And the outstanding thesis in science, math, technology, and computer science went to chemistry students. So we are trying to kind of have this represented and have awards there for all the different disciplines. The capstone project actually went to a speech and language pathology student. There are also awards for excellence in teaching, 2 awards. There is a service project that enhances the public good, and there are also research grants. Now the awards and the excellence in teaching and service projects are $250 each. The research grants are actually up to $800, and I want you to keep this in mind. Some of you might be, by the spring term, already ready to apply for one of these grants. So keep this up. I know money is tight, and every cent helps. There will be emails on this that when the awards are due, with instructions and how to apply. So in the spring, we gave out research awards to biology, biomedical sciences, counseling, environmental health, geosciences, and psychology. Again, a widespread across the whole university. You will also see emails about Illuminated, our graduate student research magazine. And I have my writer and my layout person for this next coming year sitting right up here. And what we are looking for, if you are working on an interesting project, it doesn't sometimes matter at what stage you are. When the nominations forms come out, let us know. this is really helping to really showcase the work of our graduate students that are here and their advisors. So look out for that. And again, the final message, read your emails. I cannot tell you how disappointing it is when someone comes to the office with a good project. They could easily probably have gotten an award, but they missed the deadline. So thank you.
Okay, it's prize time again. I don't know who's gonna. Let's see. Well, it's not time to leave. We got 2 more presentations and more prizes. Michelle Osborne. Yay, what would you like, Michelle? Umbrella? Okay, can we get an umbrella to her, please? Thank you. And Genevieve Dockery. Yes, what would you like? A mug? Okay. All right. Now, is Carla?
She's here. She might be sitting up in the back.
Our next presentation is, okay, wait a minute. We have 2 back-to-back presentations from on student services for graduate students and also from financial services. And I'm going to talk real slow while she walks down. So our next speaker is Dr. Carla Warner, and we'll talk to you about ETSU student services for graduate students. And she will have a table set up also out in the reception area if you want to ask her more questions afterward. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, everyone. One of the main things we want you to know is that you deserve to use the student services that you pay for in your fees. And so this presentation is one that will just give you an overview of what some of those are, or what most of them are, and encourage you to use them and just be aware that they're there for you when you need them. Campus safety is one of the first things I wanted to go over with you, that our fire and police, or our campus safety officers, are both fire and police response force certified. So they're very well trained. They do a great job for us, and we have a very safe campus. We do have emergency phones all around campus that you'll see. If you ever need to use those, we encourage you to use those, or another good tip is to put the public safety phone number into your cell phone so that you have it if you need it. We have a service called Safe Voyage, and Safe Voyage is something that, and the phone numbers on this slide, it's really hard to see that, but you can, it's 439-4480, and you can use Safe Voyage. You can contact them if you would like to have someone help you get from like a late night class to your vehicle. So that's something to just feel free to use and call that number when you need it. There, if you ever do need an air compressor or a battery charger, public safety also has that, and that's something I hope you'll never need, but we have that happen regularly. It's probably happened to you before, that you walk out and your battery's dead. So know that public safety can help you. If you've locked your keys in the car, public safety can help you with that as well. And there's always someone on duty. The Gold Alert system is another system that you should all sign up for. You can sign up for it online. go to the ETSU homepage. The great thing about this is you can get text messages. All the faculty and staff, we all use it, and our students use it, and we encourage you to go ahead and sign up for this, because you'll get a text message if there's ever any kind of problem, and it may be weather related, and typically that's what it is. And if they're going to cancel classes, you'll get a text message. So make sure that you sign up for Gold Alerts. If there was ever any other type of problem, that they would use the Gold Alert system for that as well. Another thing about canceling classes, sometimes day classes will be canceled, but night classes will happen. So sometimes it snows in the morning, the snow melts, and everything is fine. And so we don't want you to assume that just because day classes were canceled, that night classes were also canceled. So just kind of be aware of that. And it can happen the opposite way as well if it starts snowing during the day. Student health information. We have a full-service counseling center. It's located on the 3rd floor of the D.P. Culp University Center. If you ever need to see anyone in the counseling center, if you're stressed, having relationship issues, you should feel free to use that. It is a free service for you. Dental hygiene. We have a dental hygiene clinic, and you can actually get your teeth cleaned at the dental hygiene clinic, and they do a very good job. So you don't be hesitant to use the dental hygiene clinic if you would like to. You should check into that. Student health services. In Nix Hall, we have a clinic. So it doesn't offer everything, but it offers many, many things for students. And it's one of your benefits, so you should look into using it if you need some basic health care. And then there's the Office of Disability Services. It's located on the 3rd floor of the Culp Center. If you have a physical or learning disability, it is up to you. It's your option, but you can register with Disability Services and receive their assistance. And of course, we're a non-smoking campus, and we have been since 2008. Commuter services. There is carpool parking for students. Some of you may be interested in doing that. I know not as many students carpool now as they did years ago when gas prices were really, really high, but it is available, and the carpool lots are generally very, very convenient. I already mentioned the battery boost, the unlock, the flat tire assistance is with public safety. Check into the inclement weather policy. You should look at that. Overall, our philosophy as an institution is your safety comes first. So we don't want you to risk your life driving down a mountain or driving a very, very far distance in unsafe conditions to get to class. But if you live a far distance and you may have trouble with getting here during bad weather times, it's incumbent on you to talk to your professors about that situation so that they know your situation. And that way you can work things out ahead of time. Most professors will be in touch with you through D2L, or they'll send an email out about whether or not they can make it to class. So, you just need to stay on top of that. You all are graduate students, you've been through this, but still your living circumstance may be different now than it was as an undergrad. So just make sure you communicate well about that and understand the absentee policies in any classes that you have. Some of you may be in all online classes, and so you don't have to worry about that. If you do get stuck on campus one evening, with the weather, with bad weather that came on suddenly, you can get emergency housing through our housing department. It's very reasonably priced. I think it's like $13. just remember that if you are afraid of driving home one night and you do need to stay, feel free to inquire about emergency housing. And then I work in an office called Adult Commuter and Transfer Services, and we deal with students, undergrads and grads, and we keep transit schedules as part of our commuting service, off-campus housing lists. So if anyone is still looking for a place to live, we have an off-campus housing listing on our website. If you just type in the search bar off-campus housing, our list will come up. And it's basically area landlords that have maybe a duplex or an apartment in a house. It's generally not. We tend not to list any large complexes because there's an apartment guide you can use for that. This is more smaller rental properties and maybe homes. And then we also keep a lot of community resource information as well. We're located in the second floor of this building in the ARC, in the Advisement Resources and Career Center. There is a Buc-ee's Food Pantry is one of the services on our campus for students that may be, and staff, who may have needs at any particular time, food insecurity. They even stock, they try to keep some diapers on hand for our students that have children and may need help with that. Personal hygiene items. So it's a good resource for you to use. You can go to their website and there's a form you can fill out if you ever do need assistance. It is located, they just moved the Buc-ee's Food Pantry. It's now on the Buckshot route, but it's a little bit off campus by just kind of up the hill by the physical plant building, and so it's just a little bit hard to find. We're working on getting some better signage, but if you ever need help with location, there are people to contact about that, and they'll give you directions also on the phone. Parking decals. Okay, parking on campus, it's kind of a license to hunt, to find a place to park, just like any other college campus. I think it's better now that we have a parking garage. So right near our CPA and our new football stadium is our parking garage. That has made a big difference as far as availability of parking. But get your decal. They're going to be handing the decals out on the second floor of this building, booths 1 and 2, across from the bookstore, August 24th through September 1 from 9 to 3. So they'll hand them out there. You can also go by the parking office to pick up your decal if you would like to. And if you ever drive a different vehicle than the one that you have your decal on, you can get a temporary parking decal. You just go through the drive-through at the entrance to campus. And I have a list here of the most common violations. And our public safety, our parking officers will now take a photograph. So you have to realize that if you didn't have your permit displayed, if it was in the wrong direction, if your car was backed in or pulled through, if you parked in a clinic reserved space, if you were illegally facing the wrong direction, if you parked in a faculty or staff space, or you exceeded a time limit. Those are the most common violations. And you can always try to appeal a ticket, but it's certainly better to just be really aware of these rules and regulations. Make sure that you allow yourself enough time, if at all possible. Some of you will be coming from jobs off campus, and I know time will be tight, but try to find that perfect area to park for yourself where you know you generally can get a space. And read your parking brochure, because that gives all those rules and regulations. ID card. You can do many things with your ID card. Those of you who were former students here at ETSU, you know all the many uses for your ID, but it allows you library access. It is your official photo ID for campus. If you live in a residence hall, it lets you in and out. It lets you in and out of the CPA if you go to exercise. And you can load your meal plan on there. And it's also used in several off-campus locations now. So I encourage you, I think it's very, if you can, put some money on your ID card. It makes life a lot easier if you're going through food service to just be able to scan your ID. And as far as food goes on campus, we have many, many places to eat. We have, most of them are located, or many of them are in this building. The library has an Einstein's bagel and coffee, but most of the food is in this building, anywhere from any types of food like Quiznos subs, Subway, Taco Bell, Starbucks. They're on this campus at various locations. The Subway is actually in the new parking garage, so that's handy. And the university bookstore locations, there's one here in the Culp Center. There's Nebo Books, which is behind McDonald's, and there's the medical bookstore on the VA campus. The Planet calendar shows, it's not our favorite calendar because sometimes it's a little hard to navigate, but I encourage you to get familiar with Planet calendar because there's so many events going on. And my area is actually in student affairs, and we have many events about to happen as school starts, from Welcome Week to concerts that will come up this semester, and we want you to take advantage of those as graduate students. We don't think graduate students take advantage enough of some of the student activities on campus, and including new football. You get a free football ticket as a student, and we have a beautiful new football stadium. And I asked about when you'd be able to actually pick up your football tickets as your free one as a student. And they said, I was told that Saturday you should be able to online get a football ticket, and Sunday, this Sunday, at Information Services, which is in the second level of this building, you should be able to come and pick up a ticket. So I don't have a specific time for Sunday, but they said don't come before 9 a.m. So, but football is going to be very exciting, and we're going to have a lot of events surrounding football that you should look into and take advantage of. There's an electronic catalog. We don't print the catalog anymore. That's probably been told to you in earlier sessions, but just know that it's all online now, including lists of organizations and activities. Your email, every student has an email address. It's ETSU email. You need to check it regularly. I've spent a large part of my day-to-day contacting students who haven't registered yet for classes, and one of the big things I'm discovering is they haven't set up their university email, which they should have done long ago. But because they haven't, they've missed messages from the university saying, you need to come to orientation and so forth. Now, all of you are here. I know you've all signed up for your email, but just be sure and check it regularly, because I know you get a lot of emails, but that's our main way to communicate with you, so we need you to check it. And then your post office box, or their commuting students can request one, a campus box through GoldLink or in person at the post office. And it's a great full-service post office, which is actually on this level of the building. It's very handy to be able to mail packages and just make use of it as your post office. Ask Me program, anywhere you see this sign, you'll find a person that is very willing to answer questions for you. And if they don't know the answer, they've agreed, they'll find out. They'll take the time and find out the answer for you. So you don't need an appointment, you can just ask. There's some things you shouldn't forget. Coming up very soon is the fee deadline. You need to confirm and/or pay your fees, confirm your registration and pay by the 25th of August, so that's very soon. Okay, on-campus classes begin on the 28th. Last day to drop is September 10, and final exams, way off from now, are December 9 through 14. And thank you very much, and Jane Waddell is next to talk about financials.
I know, and she took my thunder. So how was everyone tonight? Yay! I'm excited to be here if you're not. And they saved the best for last. So here I am to talk to you about fees. The first thing I'm going to say, and last year I think everybody's mouth about dropped open when I said, write this down. If they give you a pen and paper, write this down. That is my email, and that is my personal phone. That's my direct line. You call me. If you have a problem, call me. Don't give up on me. When you call me, if you leave a message, I do everything within my power to answer before 8 o'clock that night, but it might be that it may take till the next morning for me to answer you, but I do everything I can to get back to you. If you are a GA this semester, or a TS, I will let you know that we will be holding you in your classes through the Friday fee payment due date due to some timing issues, but as of September 10th, for the remaining fees that you have due on your student account, by September 10th, you'll either have to make a payment on those or enroll in an installment plan. So just wanted to throw that in also. Okay, has everybody got my phone number down? 6116. How many of you received an email from me? Oh, come on. No. Hopefully you don't receive an email from me, because usually it's because someone has a balance due. But anyway, be sure and check your email, especially if it's from me. If it says Bursar's office, read it. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Do we have another slide? Oh, I need me? Oh, okay. Sorry. Will you help me? I don't know what to do. Okay.
You want me to put it all up at once?
Yeah, go ahead and put it all up.
How far do I go?
There you go. That's good. Okay. So here's the changes in the Bursar's office, and you may know about these already. We no longer accept credit card payments at the windows, at the cashier windows. Those have to be made online, and unfortunately, there's a 2.75 convenience fee that's added to your credit card payment at this time. If you pay your fees by credit card, we wanted you to know that any changes in your account that might cause you to have a refund, that will be refunded back to your credit card as long as that payment was made within 30 days. So a lot of students expect to get a refund of a check or cash back, but we refund those back to the credit card as long as it's within 30 days. If you enroll in an installment plan this year, and this is something new, you have to give us a guaranteed method of payment, either by credit card or by bank routing number and your account number. Don't put your debit card information in, it'll reject every time. So if you're going to pay by your debit card, you'll have to include that in your credit card information. I guess last and not least is the fee payment. Oh, I got to hit that down arrow again, don't I? The fee payment deadline is October 25th. Whoops, back up. By 6 o'clock p.m. I'm usually here till 8 o'clock that night, so if you have a problem or an issue, just keep contacting me. I will be happy to talk to you, and I'll try to return every email and every phone call before that time. And just a reminder, just in case something could happen, the 25% refund on a class that you drop will start on Monday the 28th and run for 2 weeks till September the 10th, which is our census. And then after that, on Sunday, September the 10th. On Monday, September the 11th, for 13 days, it's a 25% refund. It's a 75% refund from August 28th till September the 10th. From September the 11th through 13 days, about 12 to 13 days, it's only a 25% refund. So if you need to make a change, make it early if you can. But good luck. This was the best decision I ever made in my life, and I hope you all have a great night. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jane, and we appreciate you getting yourself over here. This is our last session, and we'll have some more door prizes. Clearly, I'm not Scott Kirkby. He was called out on a family emergency, so I am going to do his presentation. But I want to ask some questions. I want to find out a little bit more about you. How many of you in here were the first person in your family to go to college? Me too. Okay. And I think I will tell you a little story on myself. So, I got my bachelor's, my master's, I worked, I went back for my doctorate, and my poor grandmother just wondered if I was ever going to be finished with college. But I can tell you that graduate education changed my life. The quality of my life has been very different from previous generations in my family, and I really hope that you get that same experience. How many of you, it's your first time attending ETSU? A lot of you, welcome. We attract students from all over. How many from Tennessee? Okay, how many from somewhere else in the U.S.? All right, and how many international students from another country? Quite a few. So welcome. We really appreciate that you came here, and I hope that these next few slides will help you as you get started in your program and help you avoid some potential issues. So I'm going to go over a little bit about admissions, not very much because you already admitted, and then progress and graduation. So in your admission letter, you either got what's an unconditional admission, in which case you meet the program requirements in the catalog to graduate. You may have gotten an unconditional admission with some provisions, and in that case, whatever the provisions were in that letter, you have 1 semester or 1 year to complete those, depending on what your letter said, plus all the other requirements for the degree. And we have another admission status called non-degree seeking graduate student, where people take classes just to test their interest or for professional development, or just because they're interested. If you are here and you're a non-degree seeking student, just please remember that only 9 credits taken as a non-degree student can apply to a degree program. So today is the first day of the start of your journey, and one of the things that I want you to appreciate is that your degree requirements are found in the 2017-18 graduate catalog. And as Dr. Warner said, that's online. That catalog can change from year to year as programs change, new programs are added, or the faculty decide that a degree requirement needs to be tweaked. But those changes in the future will not impact you. Your degree requirements will remain the same as listed in this year's catalog, unless you wish to change to the newer material. Then you can do a change of catalog and change to a newer one. You can't go back in time 30 years to a catalog 30 years ago and meet degree requirements that way, but you can always move ahead one. You can petition for up to 9 graduate credit hours to move into your program. So if you took some graduate classes somewhere else at an accredited university and you got a B or better, you can talk with your graduate program coordinator or your graduate advisor to see if those courses might possibly be able to count towards your degree program here, maybe as an elective. And you need to apply for that early. Don't wait till your last semester, it won't happen. The Gold Link is a very important portal for you. You do everything through Gold Link. Everything through Gold Link. The other thing I want to talk about is what academic good standing means. Dr. Bartoshik said you need to stay in good standing to have a GA or tuition scholarship. Well, in graduate school, the minimum GPA to be in good standing is a 3.0. Only about half of the students that apply for graduate school at ETSU are admitted. It's a very select group, and we have standards, and that's important to us. And you want your degree to mean something when you get it, all right? So we have a 3 that's a B average, not a B minus, a B average. If you get below a B average, you have struggled with a particular class or have an off semester, you can be placed on academic probation, which means we're going to give you another semester to bring your GPA back up. And if you your GPA continues to drop or you fail classes, then you might face dismissal from the program. Another thing you need to know is whatever grade you earn stays on your transcript. And even if you retake it, at graduate school, it keeps being averaged in. So if you get an F in a class and retake it and get an A, your average is a C for that class because the F and the A get averaged together. That's very different from how things might have worked at your undergraduate institution, so I want you to know that. If you're having academic trouble or struggling in a class, get help early. Don't wait to the end and hope some miracle happens that you suddenly start pulling A's. Get help early. We have a lot of services here to help you with that. Another consideration you will see sometimes in the listing of courses, some courses that have end in a 7, that we call them 5XX7 or the 5956. So if you're in a master's program, no more than 30% of the classes that count towards your degree can be in those. Those are classes that have graduate students and undergraduate students together. And the graduate students have to do more work during the graduate credit, but there's still a limit on how many of those you can have. If you're in a doctoral program, you can't have any 5XX7s at all. And be aware of your program's matriculation limits. In general, it's 4 to 6 years for a graduate certificate, 6 years for the master's degree, 5 to 7 years for educational leadership, EDD, and 7 years for other doctoral programs. And the other thing, how many of you are in programs that require a thesis or dissertation? Okay, so for you, once you enroll in thesis or dissertation the first time, you have to enroll every semester after that till you graduate, even summers. And 1 credit is enough for us. Your advisor might tell you something more, you might need to take more, but 1 credit is enough for us. Here's another piece of information that might be different for you. Full-time loan for a graduate student is 9 to 12 credit hours. So if you ever took 18 to 21 as an undergrad student, that's not going to happen in graduate school. Some programs you will need to take 15. We'll have a couple programs where 1 semester you have to take 16. That requires an overload request form. And your advisor will sign off on it, and then we'll sign off on it, and then the registrar will let you sign up for more of those credits. Be sure to investigate and apply for all grants and scholarships that you're eligible for. The completion scholarships, the Carter and Gilbert scholarships. For those of you who don't have a graduate assistantship or tuition scholarship, if you're not in a border county and can get that rate, then there's the Carter and Gilbert scholarships that you can try to get. And make sure you apply for the research grants. We have a lot of things that we offer to try to help you get through. And I hate to sound like a bureaucrat, but here I am for now going to say that you're going to have a lot of forms to fill out along the way, 4 or 5 forms that have to go to the School of Graduate Studies as you continue. If you have in a thesis and dissertation, we'll need a committee form. We'll need a program and study form from all of you, a candidacy form from all of you, and an intent to graduate form is due early the semester you think you might graduate. If you don't make it, that's okay. You can do another intent to graduate the next semester. But what that does is it helps us trigger to put your file in a different place so we monitor you so that things can happen. Make sure you stay in contact with your graduate program coordinator and also your graduate program specialist that I introduced early. They will help you too to get through all that. And the whole idea is to graduate when you plan to or shortly thereafter. So we have some important advice that we just keep copying over from a former dean. Make sure you enjoy this opportunity to learn, to stop being consumers of information and start being producers. I'm a biochemist, so we talk in biology terms. You will be producing some new knowledge that will contribute to your field. That's exciting. Talk to your advisors, program specialists, departmental advisors, find study partners, join GPSA, make friends. Don't forget your graduate student success specialist. And remember your forms and deadlines so that you will be able to graduate. And then it'd be interesting for us to know where will your journey take you when you leave us. I want to thank you for your attention. We're going to do a couple more door prizes, and then we have the reception out there. Please stop and get a snack. And don't forget the ID office is staying open just for you till 7 o'clock. Okay, the last two door prizes. Jordan Wines. Is Jordan here? Yay. Okay, what would you like, Jordan? A mug? Can we get, he's way up in the back. And the final one. You all did a great job. So far I've been able to read all of these. Lauren Light. Is that right? Are you here? Lauren, I think it says Light. No? All right, I'll pull another one. You must be present to win. Robin Anthony? No? Oh, see those people that left. They're all, Karen Huffer. Yes? All right, what would you like? All right. Thank you, and we'll see you out back. Thank you very much. Pretty well with the microphone.